Page 127, Scaling the Rockies. They're introducing you on page 126 to the C major scale. Let's talk scales. A scale is just a collection of a set patterns of whole steps and half steps. Now there's different kinds of scales. Here we're dealing with a major scale. A major scale has a set pattern. Other scales have other patterns of whole steps and half steps. That's what we're after here. It's easy to see on a piano because there's no sharps or flats in the key of C major, so it uses all the white keys. So a C major scale is using the white keys. And we just go C to C. Here, C to C, all the white keys. Those are the notes in the C major scale. They do it with tetrachords. I don't like tetrachords. They messed me up. John Thompson did it with tetrachords, and it just messed me up thoroughly. But it's handy because there's 8 notes involved, and if you take the thumbs out of it, you've got it. It's all right there. So you got one tetrachord and another tetrachord. I prefer you not do it with tetrachords. I prefer you do it the way I do it in my scale videos. I have a playlist on musical scales. Bookmark it. And that way you can go right to it, to whichever scale you need. I got all the major and minor scales in there. And I explain it more in depth in there, but just briefly, we need to get the pattern down. The whole steps and half steps, and you can see them on the piano because a whole step has a black key in the middle, and a half step doesn't. So it's a whole, half, whole, half. That's the pattern. Whole step, half step. Whole step, whole step, half step. Whole, half, whole, half. Whole, half, whole, half. That's the pattern for any major scale. I can start on any key on the piano, white or black, doesn't matter. And if I follow that pattern, I'm guaranteed to get a major scale. May not know what it is, but there's a major scale. For instance, let's pick a key here. I'm going to follow that, I should get a major scale. So I got a whole, half. So whole, half, and then I want a whole, half. Whole, half. It's a major scale. You may not know what it is, but it is a major scale, and that's the pattern I have. I prefer you learn the scales according to the way I do it in the scale videos, so please go do that. And now, when you first start to play practice of a day, you do the scale of the piece you're working on. Here is C major. Yeah. Do the C major scale. 1 octave up and down. Just do everything I say in the video. I got wrists. You work on the wrist. I got accents. I teach a little bit of technique in there. It's important. The trill exercise and the accents are what's really important for building technique. Yeah. Let's talk Scaling the Rockies. We simply have the C major scale, and you'll learn to recognize these scales in music. You'll think, you see all those 8th notes, you think, good Lord, what's going on? Then eventually you say, oh, it's just a scale. Well, you can do that. It's a C major scale. And the fingering is for the C major scale. You're here, and the thumb is here on the F. And that's all this is a C major scale for the most part. So let's talk Scaling the Rockies. 4 lines long, treble and bass clef, no sharps or flats in the key signature. It's in this key, C major. Yeah. Go do the C major scale. Okay, you're going to get tired of me saying go do the C, such and such a scale because I do it all the time. I get tired of it, but it's important. And then we have our 4/4 isn't there anymore. We got a C. What's that about? Well, it's another way of doing a time signature. In fact, C was around before the numbers. It means common, C for common, and the most common time signature is 4/4. So it stands for 4/4. Now some people have said, well, they're not exactly the same. Oh, go away. As far as I'm concerned, they're the same. I'm liable to say either one. Common time or 4/4, it's just the same. So let's try this out. 1 hand at a time here. We got the C major scale at the beginning. 2 and 3. And then you got the scale going down. 1 and 2. You don't have to go this fast. And then into the second line, you hear here, F and a G together. Sounds nice. And then into the third line, you got the scale again. And then you lift picked up and come up here, you're going to do the scale going down, but you're up here, and that is a C. 2 ledger lines above the staff is a high, high C, 2 octaves above. Memorize that note. You need to know that note. And the B also. Yeah. Left hand, we're starting out here. In the second line, second measure, now the left hand gets the scale. And then coming down, F sharp, okay. Put the hands together. You put the hands together. I'm going fast, but you take it at any speed you want. Then go back through and get rid of the hesitations. So it's a steady beat throughout, and these eighth notes are even and controlled. Feel the natural accents. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. You don't have to go that fast. And when you split up a beat like here, 1 in, 2 in, each beat gets a slight accent. 1 and 2 and 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so feel these natural accents. If you have to force them at first, that's fine, force them, but you want to get to where you can feel them. As far as the articulation goes, just do the slurring. Just lift up, just like taking a breath between the slurs and then the dynamics. They go to whichever hand has the scale, and the other hand needs to be in the background. So moderately loud here. Then the left hand's soft. And the second line, second measure, left hand's loud. It just feels heavy. Keep the wrist loose. And this is soft. And then in the third line, last measure, the right hand gets it again, and the left hand goes soft. All right. Speed, it's whatever you can control. There's a retardando at the end, you slow down a little bit. Let's play it together slowly. Now this is after you've learned it. Just to check to make sure we got all the notes and rhythms correct. Not going to do any dynamics. I'm going to do both hands about the same. So I'll give us 4 counts. Now because we got all these eighth notes going on, I want to do this really, really slow. I put the metronome on eighth notes, so it's beating eighth notes. So here, 1 and 2, and those are eighth notes. So I'm going to give us 4 quarter note counts to come in, and let's play this together slowly. Very slowly. 1 and 2 and ready and go and 1 and 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And and 2 and 3 and 4 and and 4 and